Hey everyone, my name is Rooster and welcome back to Mechabellum. Today's video is going to be all over the place as I'll be playing into Scion, who usually plays defensive games, but this time around he will be the aggressor. And yeah, well, safe to say some redeployment will be put to use, and it has a whole bunch of different units and techs. I think it's best if you see for yourself. Looking at the packs here, I will be going for the Missile Specialist with the Fangs and Sledgehammers. I honestly think Sledgehammer is currently the best opener you can get if you are a defensive player or a standard player. It's just very solid against both Hounds and Steel Balls. Just has so much stalling potential against almost all of the aggro setups, really. And yeah, it just sets you up for success, generally speaking. Now, my opponent will be going for a Steel Ball Hound pack, is a giant specialist, and it looks like he will be going aggressive here with 5 Hounds. They did nerf Hound recently, but I still think the unit is probably one of the best, if not the best unit in the game, especially for its cost. Very effective at what it does, and that is chaff clear, but it's also quite hard to deal with, and we currently don't have any cost-effective counter to them. All of the counters are all pretty much more expensive. Sledgehammers can work, but they're 200 cost and they've got their own issues. Arc lights can work, but if they fall behind in levels, they tend just not to get things done. And then usually you just get stuck onto something like Raiden or Vulcan, which are both expensive giants. Now, I will be struggling a bit here in the early round 1. Of course, I don't know where he was pushing. And so, yeah, we'll have to adapt. I do run my Assault Mode Marksman bar with the quick reload, which is supposed to be somewhat of a counter to Hound. Is it amazing? Assault Mode Marksman always has its own issues, but sometimes it can work, and I have at least enjoyed trying it. So we probably will be going for it this game as well, considering my opponent has, well, currently only units that should be banned into that Assault Mode. Round number 2, we get access to our missile strikes, and there's a bunch of decent cards here. Haste module if you don't need anything. Underground threat, maybe if you want to, well, prevent a potential underground from our opponent or try to go aggressive ourselves. Both can work. And now round 2, we get an immediate sell from Scion, as he goes for the range on the Hounds and starts to flank heavily. This is, yeah, it looks almost comical, but it is honestly one of the best ways to play if you've got these Hound openers. It is very tough to deal with. Again, no real cost-effective answers. All of the answers are usually more expensive and so harder to set up, especially when there's Hounds to cover everywhere. I do somewhat try to play around it, though. We have an Assault Marksman here on the flank. We did click the Assault, and we went for the Underground threat on the right side to try and deal with the potential underground from my opponent if he uses it in the middle or on the right side. Missile will miss, well, will hit one Hound pack but miss the Steel Ball as that was sold. An opponent decided to put the haste module there onto one of the Hounds. But you can see here the splash is doing fantastic, and the tankiness of the Assault Mode Marksman really does help them out. Still, Hound DPS is actually quite high and can get even higher with levels and mech rage, and I have definitely lost games before where Hounds were just taking down Assault Mode Marksman as if it's nothing. Lucky for us, we make the right calls here, and we manage to strike back immediately and even get a level on our Marksman. Round number 3, though, the game accelerates like crazy as we have Fortress show up, and Fortress Hound is one of the better packs or comps on aggro currently, I would say. Scion, though, goes for the Phoenix, and I think that is because he is a giant spec, remember? So can just go into that if he wants to without needing to buy the unlock. Instead goes for the Phoenix. Very powerful here as well. Lots and lots of DPS. Should be good against the low-level Assault Mode Marksman, and should even be good against things like the Sledges and potentially the Fortress if it manages to connect. We'll be going onto the right side, though. Just more Hounds picked up. This is the way that the game is currently played. And yeah, it's just very hard to deal with. You could go for a Vulcan, but it is rather tough to deal with Vulcans, or deal with hounds when they're literally everywhere. I mean, Vulcans aren't cheap, and it's hard to make sure they cover every single corner of the map, especially in the early game like this. We're going to have a marksman on the right side. I'll level up the right tower because I don't really have too much to protect it. Do go for another deployment. It's going to be another assault mode marksman on the left side this time, trying to deal with each and every single pack. We also missile that hound pack that leveled also had the item. And let's see, level 2 marksman moves in. We'll at least get one shot off and kill one of the level 3 phoenixes. Very happy with that. Fangs now trickling in, but the phoenix turns to deal with my marksman. Lucky for me, the right side tower is leveled, so it seems like we'll be able to deal with the left side. Start pushing into that tower as well, as now we have a fight happening in the middle. And by the looks of it, with the 9 seconds of debuff, this fortress should survive. I say that. Phoenix DPS is very high, but indeed it will survive, and I get more levels on the marksman. And very happy so far with how this has gone. Efficient Giant Manufacturing now shows up. And Scion, of course, instantly picks it as he is a giant specialist. Maybe I should go for it as well here. Wasn't necessarily feeling the fortresses too much, but I think it should have been what I go for. I will end up skipping. I kind of wanted to give Assault Mode Marksman a try. But yeah, looking at what my opponent now goes for, with the fortresses on the line, definitely kind of regretting not picking that efficient and going for more fortresses myself. We'll go for the EMP, just trying to hit a couple of hounds. And it's a spell with a very low cooldown, so it should serve me at least pretty well in the late game. But yeah, I mean, look at this. And I was very surprised, kind of, that my opponent didn't go Fortress before. I get the Phoenix pick, but Fortress is just a classic counter to the Marksman. And yeah, now with the Efficient Giant Manufacturing, that will become the plan. Is running a pretty scary tech bar too, with range, EMP, and range elite, excuse me, and double shot. I'm running the Overload. I think I could probably contest. There is no barrier available, which can definitely create some problems on aggro, but for now, I'm just, yeah, trying to get into the Assault Mode Marksman, buying more chaff, buying some fangs. I'm trying to play around that Phoenix, which got sold. We also flank with a Crawler, but exactly that tower has been leveled, so we'll take a while to take that down. And meanwhile, left side will be in a world of hurt, for sure, as these fortresses will be able to lock on. The hounds are chaff clearing very well. And I don't think we're going to have the damage to take down too many of these. Ideally, of course, we do get rid of at least one, but yeah, the Assault Mode Marksmen are just really not made to deal with these fortresses, and even during the debuff, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to take any of these down. Crawlers are moving in, but with this many hounds left, that is a disastrous turn. And Scion going to be dealing a lot of damage entering round number 5. Now, round 5, we get unit reinforcements, and immediately I think, okay, well, Scorpion, Typhoon, and Vulcan don't seem that useful to me. That's not going to help me deal with those fortresses. But Steel Balls, I am running Heavy Target Lock, or Fortified Target Lock is what it's called now. And, well, that should allow me to instantly lock onto these if I just put some chaff in front. And take down the fortresses without having to worry about any chaff in front. So yeah, here we go. Triple Steel Ball, immediate range, Mech Rage picked up for Scion. Very powerful tech on the Hounds. Went for the Typhoons himself, sold one. And went for the range now on the fortresses. Pretty happy to see this, as with some chaff in front, that shouldn't really do too much. And yeah, here we go. Triple chaff. Trying to make sure that we protect the steel balls for long enough that they will be able to take down the fortresses. And of course, the heavy target lock with the temp range. That will simply ignore these crawlers. Missile strike back off cooldown as well. Trying to get rid of that hound on the left side, as it is DPSing a lot. I mean, have a look at this, right? fortresses, you would think, dealing a lot of damage, but this Hound actually beating 2 out of the 3 fortresses in terms of damage in the last round. Now let's see how this turns out. More Hounds on the flanks. We do get those locks, and even the level 1 steel balls will be able to get rid of those fortresses, no problem. Very happy with that. Getting rid of the biggest threat. Of course, there's still a whole bunch of Hounds with double techs, but I think with the marksman we should be able to get there. And it should be a nice round. The one downside is I'm not playing any giants. So where Scion wins a round and deals, you know, 1,000 plus, I'm going to win the round and deal a little bit less. Still a lot of units left alive. It will actually be more than 1,000 damage. And round number 6, we get heavy armor showing up. Efficient tech research available too, which Scion goes for. I'm very surprised. I think it's not really worth picking if you've already teched 3 times, but let's see. It's also quite late into the game, so even if he does start making some value out of it, it's going to be very tough. Goes for a beacon there and actually has spaced in such a way that these fortresses can be beaconed back. That should break the locks. These steel balls are not really that far up. They can just barely hit the fortresses when they have temp range. So that will break the lock-ons. And instead we've got EMP now coming out with triple Raiden. Another fantastic S-tier comp, I would say, with the Hounds. Both Hound Fort and Hound Raiden are extremely scary and hard to deal with. And so we go from dealing with one problem, being the fortresses, to now having to face yet another. I do go for the range on the marksman. Hopefully that'll allow us to deal with the Raidens, but they've got EMP, and that definitely is a massive counter to the assault mode marksman. And let's see, more of them being picked up. I went range because I wanted to insta-lock these guys and just, well, the assault marksman still should be, well, still are the way that I deal with the Hounds, so I can't neglect them too much. Missile there will sadly miss. And yeah, the steel balls just not managing to do too much. Assault mode marksman doing a decent job, but there's still quite a few Hounds left, and as the Raidens are now starting to move in and I'm starting to run out of chaff, they'll start hitting some of these marksmen. We do take down at least one Raiden. Some Fangs moving in. Maybe we can take down one more, but the fortress is still alive. Now moving in. And with the range, they definitely do have those marksmen beat. Yeah, here we go. Raiden's still alive. 2 fortresses still alive. We will get that level tower, but with only level 1 marksman left, I highly doubt we'll be able to take any more units down. And so that will be the round going over again to Scion. Both of us now are sitting around 2k hit points. Round number 7, Ion Blast. I do pick it up. Feel like I kind of have to, considering the line of units here on the left. But Scion picks up the redeploy. And yeah, suddenly everything is going to be moving. A Raiden gets sold, another one gets moved, another one gets beaconed. Looks like I'm gonna be missing my EMP as well, and he goes for the range. One of the best spells, probably, especially for its cost for aggro, when you're playing this type of board, especially with Hounds, right? Enabling this type of wide board setup. Sometimes it can be hard to move stuff and still have chaff clear, but if you set up the board in such a way that you've got chaff and chaff clear everywhere in terms of Hounds, you can pivot left to right, right to left, back and forth. Now I decided to go for some Overlords with photon coating. Main reason being that I think Overlords are pretty good into Raiden. They should beat them if you've got some carry techs on them. Raiden not necessarily meant to take down big targets. Of course, Ionize exists, but it's not a very common thing to pick up. And yeah, Photon here, also a great counter to the EMP. Again though, Fortress is moving backwards, breaking the lock. Not really much I can do about that. And the Ion Beam is alright. I deal some damage to the Fortresses, but definitely Scion... Excuse me. Scion doing a great job of mitigating the damage dealt. Pushing into the right side, and I'm hoping I'll have enough to take down everything. Overlord looks like we'll get rid of a Raiden there. Right side tower, though, will fall eventually, and with a Raiden left, that could spell trouble. Let's see. Overlord doesn't really have any techs, so the EMP shouldn't matter too much, but... Okay, there we go. 2 more marksmen will fall before that, but at least I managed to deal some more damage, and now, round number 8, we get a whole bunch of units added to the field. It's going to be the Mustangs here for Scion, and I'm thinking, okay, I've got Photon on my boats already, and honestly, the enemy board is not the highest DPS, and with triple level 2 sledgehammers and Link and field maintenance available, I think with the Photon I should be able to kind of, yeah, beat my opponent and kind of stat check them in terms of how much damage they can deal. Problem is, I go on the right side expecting him to kind of transition everything he has on the right and push into the tower, but instead he's moving away, and he's added Mustangs on the left. I add an Overlord on the right side as well. And now we get 1, 2, 3 more Raidens added. But where are they going to show up? On the left side. And so here, my gamble not paying off. I'm guessing the wrong side. And how will that affect the board? Because, I mean, the right side here we should be able to deal with, but the left side, that definitely looks very scary. A little bit more chaff picked up. Did go for shielded fangs earlier because it's quite good into the Raidens. But yeah, the Mustang drop will deal with that very efficiently. And so now we're moving into the tower, but that is level 3, and the boat is kind of getting stuck, not managing to lock onto the Raiden that's running away. Now turning its attention to the Typhoon, might even get stuck on the Typhoon in the tower, and the left side is completely crumbled. 2k hit points, that's looking like way too many Giants left alive though. 4 Raidens, a Fortress, a bunch of Hounds and Mustangs. And yes, sadly there, things not playing out the way we hoped, and we just die. A little bit unfortunate. I actually want to try and replay the final round, because it all comes down to a 50-50, right? Like, redeployment's in play, and I have to guess where things are going. But I want to try and test, was my idea such a bad one? Right? Like, would we have won if I decided to do something like this, but on the correct side of the board? So let's say that I took the 50-50 and instead I tried to go on the left side. Let's give this item, let's sell the steel balls. They're not really doing too much anymore either way. We've got a missile left. Could try and use that on the Hounds here if we want to. And then, of course, we need to go damage sharing, field maintenance. We want a loan. That's for certain. I probably have to respect the right side a little bit, so let's at least level up that tower. And that would allow me to still get 2 more sledgehammers at level 2. So let's pick those up as well and just kind of complete the link here. And I think that looks fine. I could even put them somewhere over here. Maybe trying to hit these crawler packs head on. Make sure that they also kind of get caught in the photon, because otherwise they'll get EMP'd. And that leaves us with a little bit of cash. Not quite sure who I want to level here. Maybe one of the marksmen could be fine. Let's just go for that. And then we press end turn and we see what happens. So, the linked sledgehammers now. Photon, of course, so can't get EMP'd, and you can just see how tanky these guys are. The steel ball sitting pretty behind them. All of the Raidens are locked up, unable to do anything. And now with the Overlords moving in and the marksmen as well, things aren't looking too bad. Some of the sledgehammers now getting EMP'd as the photon ran out, but the rest are just completely fine, and they recover, heal back up, and all of a sudden, the round completely changes, and we deal 3,000 damage to Scion. I did level up the right tower, just trying to kind of call the... in case we tried to call the bluff on the right side, but yeah, sadly, I guess wrong, and it costs me dearly. A very interesting game, though. Lots of different techs being used here that you don't see too often, right? We've got the Assault Mode Marksman, we've got the Steel Balls with the range and the Fortified Target Lock, we've got Linked Sledge eventually, some Photon Boats. This game was all over the place, quite a fun one, but it does show you the power of, yeah, this type of wide board setup with the hounds, and then something like redeployment allowing you to move from left to right. Very cool game. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down below what you think of it. Have you tried Assault Marksman or Fortified Target Lock? Have you played this type of hound board? Do you love it or hate it? Put it down there. If you want to stay up to date on latest content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. With that being said, take care, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.